Students, and welcome to the automobile engine class. Myself Shankho Ghosh, assistant professor of automobile engineering department at Dr. Sudhir Chandra Sur degree engineering college under the JIS group. So students, here in the few of last classes we started the discussion about the module number 5A, which is covered the topic which is based on the fuel fed system in the petrol engine. So we already covered here the fourth part. In the first part, we discussed about the introduction of the fuel fed system, and we learn about the function of this fuel fed system, and then we classify the various types of fuel fed system. After that, we study the layout of the petrol engine fuel fed system. Then in the second part of this module, we started the discussion about the various components of this fuel fed system in petrol engine. Then in the third part, we discussed about the various kinds of fuel fed systems, various components of the fuel fed system, as well as we already discussed there about the air cleaner and their classification. Then in the fourth part of this module, we already covered the basic introduction of the carburetor. And now in this fifth part of this module, we continue this module with the construction of carburetor as well as the classification of the carburetor. So students, let's start the fifth part of this fuel fed system petrol engine with the carburetor. So basically, these students, carburetor consists of an open pipe. Carburetor basically consists of an open pipe through which the air passes into the inlet manifold of the engine. Here the pipe is in the form of a venturi. The pipe is basically form of a venturi through where the air passes or air is entered into the inlet manifold. Here the narrow section and the wide sections are available. As the pipe looks like a venturi, so therefore it has some portion of a narrow section and some portion is a wide section, because it helps the airflow to increase in speed, because it helps the air flowing to increase it in speed in the narrowest part. So below the venturi, a butterfly valve is available there, which is called as a throttle valve. A rotating disc basically a rotating kind of disc are used to control this flow of the venturi or flow of the butterfly, which is known as the throttling valve, so as to hardly restrict to the flow at all, or it can be rotated so that it almost completely block the flow of the air. So this throttle valve basically controls the flow of air through the carburetor throat, and thus the quantity of air and fuel mixture delivered into the system. So therefore the proper mixture of air fuel are delivered into the system. System means in the combustion chamber during the suction period. Thereby it regulating the power and the speed. The throttle is basically connected usually through a cable. This throttle is connected by a cable or a mechanical linkage of rods and joints by rarely it is connected with the pneumatic link to the accelerator pedal of a car or a vehicle. So basically this throttle valve which controls the air and flow mixture in the combustion chamber during the suction stroke, which is connected with a cable or a mechanical linkage of rods, are available from the accelerator pedal. A throttle lever in an aircraft or the equipment control on other vehicles or air equipment. The fuel is introduced. The fuel is basically introduced into the air stream. The fuel introduced here through the small hole. Fuel is basically introduced here into the air stream and through the small holes at the narrowest part of the venturi. At the other places where pressure will be the lower, when not running for the full throttle. The fuel is flow is basically adjusted by means of precisely calibrated orifice, which is referred to as a jets in the fuel path. So these are the basic constructions of the these are the basic construction of a carburetor. Now coming to the next slide, here you can see the pictures of a carburetor. So here is the air filters which is available, and from this way the air is injected into the air filter. In the air filter, the atmospheric air has been filtered and then it is entered into the venturi or the carburetor. So there is a choke valves are available. Well, and one side of the air, the float chamber is connected with this carburetor, and here through here gas or means the gasoline or petrol is entered in the float chamber, and from the float chamber the fuel is delivered into this area. So when it comes into this area here, air and the fuel are mixed in proper way, and then it comes to this in this way which is controlled by the throttling valve, which is totally controlled by the throttling valve. So this is the basic construction of the carburetor. Now coming to the next slide, where the basically in next slide we find that the classifications of the carburetor. The classification of the carburetor, when we are talking about the classification of the carburetor, it can be divided into the two ways. First one is a double venturi and the triple venturi. Here in this picture, this one is the double venturi, has triple venturi, because if this one is placed, this is called the venturi, and when there are two types of cut section narrow path are there, so that's why this is called the double venturi, and here three pairs of the narrowest path are available, that's why this is called the triple venturi. So this is the main venturi section, here is the boost venturi section, this is in double venturi. When we are talking about the triple venturi, so this is the main venturi section, this one is the secondary boost venturi system, and second is the primary boost venturi system. So that's why this is called the triple venturi. So when we are talking about the three venturi arranged, when we are talking about the three venturi arranged in a series, and these are containing in carburetor, then it is called a triple venturi. Basically, there are the three venturi, namely the primary venturi, the secondary venturi, and the main venturi. And here, the outlet of the primary section, the outlet of the primary section or the primary venturi is basically placed in the throat of the secondary venturi. The outlet of the secondary venturi and the outlet of the secondary venturi is situated. Outlet of the secondary venturi is situated near to the throat of the main venturi. And when we are talking about the double venturi, here a boost venturi is located. In case of the double venturi, a boost venturi is located, which is concentrically within the main venturi. The main venturi. So this discharge, the edge of the boost venturi is located. So this discharge edge of the boost, located at the throat of the main venturi. So that's why the boost venturi is positioned upstream of the throat of the larger venturi. So only a friction of a total airflow through the boost venturi. Now the pressure at the boost venturi exists equal to the pressure at the main venturi. The fuel nozzle basically is located at the throat of the boost venturi. Now coming to the result of these two double venturi and this triple venturi, it helps to increase high depression creates in the region of the fuel nozzle. So here the high compression is created in the region of the nozzle. And then it is helpful, an angular blanket of the air is formed, and it is helps to excellent low speed in full throttle operation if possible. So these are the two types of the carburetor according to the venturi. So there are another category are also available when we are classify the venturi, which is basically depends on the direction of the airflow. Here basically flow is controlled with the three way. First one is the cross draught, second one is the up draught, and third one is the down draught. So let's start with this cross draught. A cross draught carburetor basically consists of a horizontal horizontal mixing tube with a flow chamber on the side. So by mixing a cross draught by using a cross draught carburetor in engine, the one at an left angle turn in the inlet passage is eliminated and the resistance to fluid reduced. Now another one is now coming to the second one, which is called as an updraft. The update is another type of carburetor in which air is enter at the bottom, and air is entered into the bottom and leave from the outside on top, and this at the top. so that the direction of the flow is an upward direction. So the disadvantage of this upward carburetor is that it must leave the spray fuel droplet by the air friction. So these are the another types of this. These are the another type of a carburetor. Then coming to this third one, which is called as the down rod. Basically, when we are talking about the design a downward carburetor, here air is entered into the upward direction and leaves from the bottom of the portion. Basically, this is the just vice. This is the near to the similar of the update. Just here, just change the direction of the airflow. When we are studying the in case of the updraft, here air is entered into the bottom of this portion, and the bottom sides and leaves into the upper side. Here in case of the downwards, it's just the opposite, where air is entered into the top side and leaves in the bottom side. So in case of the down updraft, as the air enter into the bottom side and exist in the upsides, so that's why the injectors, that is why the injectors spring the upside. Here the injector are placed in a similar way, but it's there is a patch which helps to release the fuel into the lower side or the downside. So this is another types of the carburetor. So that's why there are the three types of carburetors are available according to the flow of the direction. Those are cross draught, up draught, and the down draught. So now coming to the automobile carburetor. So basically here students, in the automobile carburetor we use the carburetor in the automobile section for the easy of the starting of the engine, particularly under low the ambient condition, ability to give the full power quickly after the starting the engine, equality good and smooth the engine operation at a various load, good and quick acceleration of the engine, simple and the compact in construction, and good fuels economy, ensuring the fuel throughput at own speed, which is developing sufficient power at the high engine speed. So for that reasons we are use the carburetor in the automobile. So students, from here we got a common questions that why we use carburetor in an automobile, and the reasons are it is easy of the starting the engine. It helps to easy the start of the engine, particular when we are talking about the part under the low ambient condition. Second is it is able to give a full power. It's able to give the full power quickly after the starting of the engine. Third is it equality of good and the smooth engine. Equality of good and smooth engine operates at a various load. Fourth is good and quick acceleration. Good and quick acceleration. Fifth is simple and the compact in construction. Then is the good fuel in economy, ensuring the full torque at own speed, which is developing the sufficient power at the high speed engine. So these are the reasons for the use of a carburetor in the automobile sector. Now coming to the for that purpose there are the two types of carburetors are also available, which is used in this automobile. Those are totally based on the constant choke carburetor and the constant vacuum carburetor. In case of the constant choke carburetor, the air and the fuel, the air and the fuel flow areas are always the flow area are always maintained to be constant. Flow area, air and fuel flow areas are always maintained to be constant, but the the pressure difference but the pressure difference or depressions which causes the flow of fluid of fuel and air are being varied as per the demand of the engine. So Solex and Zenith carburetor are being the are being all well along to this class. Next is the constant vacuum carburetor. So in this in the constant vacuum, when you are talking about the constant vacuum carburetor, so the air and the fuel flow area are being varied, where the air and fuel flow area are being varied as per the demand on the engine, while the vacuum is totally maintained to be same. Here the SU carburetor and the Carter carburetor are the classified on this constant volume carburetor. So students, let's start the discussion with the Solex carburetor. The Solex carburetor is one of the modern carburetor. The Solex carburetor is one of the modern carburetor, and it is known for the good performance, and it is known for the good performance starting and the reliability. The reliability. So the Solex carburetor which is used, so Solex carburetor which is used by the many top European automobile, by many of top automobile European automobile manufacturers like Mercedes, Porsche, and the Rolls-Royce, etc. It is also used. It is also used by the automobile Indian automobile manufacturers like Mahindra, Suzuki, Maruti, etc. So this the main advantage of these Solex carburetors is it is helps to easy the starting. It is reliable and it gives the high performance. So all the circuits which is ever mentioned, all these circuit which is mentioned the here above means easy the starting, reliable, and gives high performance. These circuits are works here in separately. So it reduces the waste and the carbon formation. It reduces or decreases the waste and the carbon formation. The throttle response is very high, which is compared to the other carburetors. So here is the pictures of a Solex carburetor. Here is the picture of the Solex carburetor. So here this one is a carburetor, a float chamber, the accelerator pedal. So that with the help of this accelerator pedal, the pump lever is connected, and with this pump lever is connected with this accelerator pump, and here is a float chamber is connected. So with the help of this the fuel is entered in this here with a downward system. In this here, eventually this comes here. So these are the basic pictures of a Solex carburetor. Now coming to the another kinds of carburetor, which is known as the Zenith carburetor, which is the part of a constant choke carburetor. So the Zenith carburetor is a British carburetor. The Zenith carburetor is a British carburetor which is used by many popular company, which is used by the many popular companies. It is produced by the Zenith carburetor company. It is produced by the Zenith carburetor company and it was founded in the year of the 1910. So in this carburetor there are no starting problem and also this carburetor provides a rich mixture during the high speed. So here is the pictures. There is a pictures of a Zenith carburetor. This one is the float chamber. From there the fuel tank. This line is connected with this fuel tank. This one is the collar section. The spindle is it is connected with this float chamber. There is a line, fuel flow line. Here is the bell is connected here. This is a starting jet. This is the compensating line and this one is the main line. So from here the fuel is connected here. This is compensated jet fuel is comes here and this main jet. Then that's why they are it's produced a rich kinds of mixture. This is the throttle valve and this is the chokes are available. So this is called as known as this type of carburetor is basically called a Zenith carburetor, which is produced by the Zenith carburetor company in the year of the 1910. Now coming to the next slide, which is the SU carburetor. Basically this is the type of constant vacuum carburetor. So the SU carburetor are a British manufacturer. It's a British manufacturer of the constant depression or the constant vacuum carburetor. Their designs were in many is a design were in mass production during most of the 20th century. This SU carburetors basically stands for the Skinner's Union carburetor. The Skinner's Union carburetor is basically known as SU carburetor. This SU, a Skinner Union, is a carburetor company which is basically established in the London, in the year of the 1910. The year of the 1910, the SU carburetor company, the SU or the Skinner's Union Carburetor Company Limited also manufactured the dual choke upgrade kinds of carburetor for the Aero engine such as Rolls-Royce Merlin and the Rolls-Royce Griffon. So these are the application of this SU carburetor. So here you can see in this picture, this is a picture of the SU carburetor or Skinner Union carburetor. This is the float chamber, as a control valve is there. This one is the suction chamber. This one is the suction disc are available. This is the here is a tapered jet in this place. This one is the jet. Here is the air rectifier hole. This is a piston. This is called a piston. Here is a piston rod and this one is the piston rod. Right. So this is the basic pictures of an SU carburetor or Skinner Union carburetor. Now coming to the next type of carburetor, which is called known as a Carter carburetor. The Carter carburetor, which was invented by the founder of cast brass carburetor, William Carter. So according to the name of the William Carter, this carburetor is basically known as a Carter carburetor. The Carter carburetor is basically a down trot type of carburetor. So in this down Carter carburetor, fuel or petrol enters into the chamber, fuels or fuels or sorry car, car, carburetor fuels or petrol basically enter into the chamber and air enters from the choke valve which is allocated at the top position. The carter basically produce roaster quadrajet carburetor for their rival maker whenever demand outpaces the roaster ability to make them. The Carter Company, which is in stated in the St. Louis, Missouri, was established in the 1901, and this company is ceased in the year of 1981 1985. So basically, in the starting of the 19th century till the 20th century, the company was started, and the near to the end of the 20th century, the Carburetor Company has been seized. Here is the picture of the Carter carburetor. So students, in today's class, we discuss about the operation of the carburetor, and besides this, we can classify the carburetor. Here we classify the carburetor according to the venturi system and according to the airflow system. And then we learn here why the carburetor is used in the automobile sector. And then we knew that the carburetor can be classified according to the constant mass, according to the constant choke, and according to the constant vacuum carburetor. And then we learn about the various kinds of carburetor which is used, which are basically used in the automobile sector. And then from the students here, from the next class, we continue the carburetor with some various kinds of circuits and the air fuel mixture. So till then, stay at home and stay safe. Thank you so much, students.